Hey guys, welcome and welcome back. My name is Kimberly, and today we are continuing with the Christmas spirit, of course. And I'm painting on my face this pair of mittens, and I'm starting with Mehron's Starblend powders. This is pure white, and I did that basically just to get the desired shape of my mittens that I wanted. And once I was okay with that, I went over it with pearl white and just began to build on that shape that I already have. I'm using pearl white because later on I'm gonna go back over this with basically textured patterns in pure white, and that's to give the appearance that it's material like cloth, or that soft plush materials that mittens are made of. And so yeah, I'm doing both sides of my face, and I'm going to connect that with that string that you usually hold both pairs of your mittens or your gloves with. Not sure what that string is called, but we're gonna call it a string. Yeah. So just continuing with the outlining of that shape that I already have using the powders. And again, this is global pearl white. And now I'm going to create the string that holds my two pairs of mittens, or my pair of mittens, together. And I'm forming a heart shape on the top of my head, or on my forehead, with that same string. And now I'm gonna go over all of that with textured designs, and this is my global pure white that I'm using. And I'm basically just going over this with a particular pattern that mimics the thread that's used in mittens, and you can do any design that you want. So my design is I'm doing 2 rows of dashes or lines, and then 2 rows of, I guess you can call those scallop looking shapes, not sure, but that's basically it. Nothing fancy. I just wanted it to have the appearance that it's fabric, and so that's what I'm doing. And you can actually see the difference between the global white that I am using now and the global pearl white. So that's the reason why I used those two different whites. And now this is Mehron Starblend, and this is black, and I'm using this to create shadows, and I'm gonna go all in between my patterns here. So what I'm doing is going in between the global white, and I'm sort of creating a shadow. Basically wherever that pearl white is still exposed, I'm putting in that shadow to make it look like my pattern is actually really thick and raised, and therefore would create a shadow. And I'm also doing that on my string as well. So I did this throughout the entire mitten. I didn't film that part, but throughout the entire mitten on both sides, I'm putting in that shadow, and I'm just going in randomly in between where I can still see that pearl white, and I'm just making that global white, that pure white, stand out by adding the shadows in between there. The brush that I'm using, that is a dry brush. I have not dipped it in water, it's not wet, and I'm barely touching my designs with that because I just want a hint of shadows in between there, not too much. So I'm just tapping my brush just to get a slight hint of that darker shade, that shadowy shade. And what I'm doing now is I'm adding more shadows just where the cuff or the wrist part of the mittens would be. So of course that wrist area is going to be much more thicker than where your hands in the glove goes. I don't know if you're gonna understand that, but yeah, just basically showing that the wrist part of the glove is higher. So I'm creating a shadow just under where that folds, and I added in some shadows in between the thumb and the rest of the fingers. And now I'm adding shadows to make it appear as though the gloves are 3D and it's actually on my face. So I'm going to do that to both gloves, and I'm creating a shadow as if I have light coming from, let's say, from where my ear is. So from my ear, the light is hitting my glove, and so therefore it's going to create a shadow on this side. And I'm also going to do that on my string as well, but on my string I'm not going to go as heavy with the shadowing. I did have shadows under my string and I was going very heavy with that, but I didn't like the way it blended with my eyebrows. It appeared as though I had unibrows, so I took that off, and yeah, you're gonna see what I'm gonna do to create the shadows for the string. So yeah, check your work out, make sure it's good. So here you're now seeing me putting in my shadow, and I had already tested my previous idea to make the shadow a lot more defined and a lot bigger, but I didn't like it, so I took that off. And I also took some of my eyebrows off, but that's okay. So yeah, we're just creating a shadow. I'm gonna be a little thicker with the shadow where it meets the mittens, and then as it goes up on my forehead it's going to be very thin, and I do the same for the other side as well. And in the center where my string forms the heart. And guys, this is basically the whole design. So yeah, we just use what, 3 colors. So I used global white, global pearl white, I used Mehron's Starblend black, and you don't have to, but I also used, as you saw from the beginning, the Mehron Starblend white, and that was just to get the shape of the mittens that I wanted. And that's basically it. I then dressed it up with some makeup, some eyeshadows, and guys, this design is done. This took maybe 15 minutes because I did it on myself, and here's the final product. Hope you like it.